But it was easy to tell who had a bad day. Obviously, Blanchard Racing Team with a big crash for Aaron Love after a brake failure, and then Premier Racing with James Golding's car catching fire due to a fuel tank issue.
Hi everyone, Andrew Van Leeuwen from Speedcafe here. I'm joined by Stefan, Bartholomaeus. We are previewing the first round of the Supercars season, the Sydney 500, thanks to the Ford F-150. Go big with the F-150. Stefan, we're at Sydney Motorsport Park. We watched racing cars yesterday. There's more racing cars coming up tomorrow, which is Friday. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, we're sort of in the eye of the storm at the moment with the test day and a lot of action during the test day yesterday. And then the race meeting kicking off tomorrow, but teams are fully setting up their garages today after sort of running a little bit of a lighter garage program yesterday.
All right, let's have a chat about what happened yesterday. As you say, there was a fair bit of action for a test day. In terms of performance and pecking order, what did we learn?
Well, it's very hard to tell who's had a good day during the test day because of the mix of tyres. There was a limited stock of the 2025 tyres that they had available, so not everyone ran those for much of the day, but it was easy to tell who had a bad day. Obviously, Blanchard Racing Team with a big crash for Aaron Love after a brake failure, and then Premier Racing with James Golding's car catching fire due to a fuel tank issue. So yeah, those guys had a lot of work to do overnight, but thankfully they do have today to get everything sorted for tomorrow.
You mentioned the tyres. Obviously, we're moving to a new, not new construction, but new compound soft tyre, which will be in action for the racing this weekend. We saw, for example, Ryan Wood was quite quick yesterday. I think he ended up second fastest overall. He's still classified as a rookie. They get extra tyres now on race weekends. Did we maybe see them exhausting their allocation a little harder of the new tyre during testing yesterday?
Yeah, there was a bit of talk about that, the fact that the rookies do have a couple more to play with through the season, so they could maybe burn another set yesterday, but really we don't know what everyone was running, and yeah, unfortunately these days always end up with us talking about tyres.
So Will Brown, 4/10 down the road from everyone else, not a huge concern, you don't think? We can't read too much into it?
Well, you can probably read a bit more into the fact that he's the reigning champion, spent his off-season winning the New Zealand Grand Prix, so he's in red-hot form, and yeah, he's clearly the benchmark. Whether he was on top yesterday or not, he's the man to catch.
We saw during testing on Wednesday another new for 2025 factor in play, and that was the fuel churn. So the move away from using the fuel rigs at every event and using these sort of handheld churns. It looked a little clumsy for a few teams out there. It was quite interesting.
Yeah, we were actually standing up here on the pit building yesterday watching that. And yeah, awkward. They're big, heavy churns, really. Only 25 litres, but it's a fair weight, and just the shape of them. There's a lot of fuel sloshing sort of at head height, and so if the cars don't come in perfectly straight, the fuel are having to move around, look quite tricky. And with the races and how little fuel they actually need to take on, it's quite tight between that and the tyres. So the fueling could actually play a big part in who wins the races.
And they only got these churns like a week ago, so they haven't exactly had heaps of time to practice how to wrestle these ginormous jugs.
Yeah, and that's why there was a dedicated time period yesterday in the early afternoon that the teams could have a crack and see what they need to do better on the weekend.
All right, we've talked about how much we didn't learn during the test yesterday in terms of performance. Let's jump straight into some predictions for the weekend coming. Who do you think is going to walk away with a very early championship lead from Sydney Motorsport Park?
Well, I mean, if you look back to last year here, it was really Mustang territory, and we know that these types of corners, this flow sort of track, does tend to suit the Mustang a little better than the Camaro. So, I mean, Chaz Mostert was dominant here really last year, but we also saw Groves with speed. Matt Payne was on the podium in one of the races. Tickford got a couple of podiums. Will Davo got a pole for DJR here last year. So it is sort of set up as a Mustangs versus 888 battle, which is interesting considering the news of early this year.
Absolutely. I think I'm going to go with Cam Waters to have a good weekend, just based on exactly what you were saying, the fact we've seen the Mustangs perform so well here in the past. Of course, you can keep up to date with all of the action from Sydney Motorsport Park at speedcafe.com. We'll have all the news and all the reaction and analysis. Should be a fascinating weekend, and yeah, let's get into it.
Thank you.
Get what you really want at the Ford Plate Clearance with an $8,000 gift card on F-150 Lariat long wheelbase. Only at your Ford dealer while stocks last.